Well, how's it going, friends? Wade with the Kingdom Report here, back again for another round of Disney news from coast to coast. You know we love rewarding you for watching or listening to this show, don't you? Well, all you got to do to win your very own copy of my new book, Stand Alone the Walt Disney Way, head on over to the Kingdom Report on YouTube, and right beneath this video, after the live show is over, leave the comment, Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is the phrase that pays this week. Yeah, between now and Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time at which to enter, if you are the winner, we will reach out to you and get this book shipped your direction, all by entering Indiana Jones in the comment section beneath this video after the live show. Or you can get your hands on a copy of Stand Alone the Walt Disney Way, my new book, right now on Amazon. And on today's broadcast, holidays from coast to coast have been announced. We are going to dive into the details of what Disneyland and Disney World are going to look like this year as we approach Christmas. The Genie Plus service has been overhauled, after several years of trying. Did Disney give up? We will talk about it. Walt Disney World is also offering a hotel discount you need to be aware of as we head towards the holiday season. And our embarkation day on the Disney Wish, that's right, the entire team headed out to Florida to enjoy the Disney Cruise Line's newest ship. We will talk all about what it was like, first impressions, and more as we deep dive into our first of a several-part series on the Disney Wish. Tyler Crouch is here. Katrina Manzoni is here. I'm Wade Heath. I'm also here. And we've got all the Disney news and more for you. It is Kingdom Report Live time.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
What a beautiful day in Southern California as we take that live look outside at the Disneyland Resort, courtesy of that Hojo, Anaheim.com, Mattercam. Through the tree line we go. Sleeping Beauty Castle in the distance, Matterhorn Mountain. What a beautiful day it is in SoCal. Finally, it's back to being a bit cool here in Southern California. Can't say the same for our friends in Orlando, but it is great to be in SoCal on a day like today. Hey everybody, it's Wade for the Kingdom Report, back here with you in the Warner Brothers Studios Media District in beautiful Burbank, California, right around the corner from the Walt Disney Studios. That's right, just up the road from the Disneyland Resort. We are here to bring you all the latest Disneyland news, Disney World updates, and more, and of course have a bit of magical fun with you. Hopefully that is the first thing that we do. We have a bit of magical fun here and there, but mostly we care. That's why we scare. Because we care.
Sure.
Fact.
Unless you go into Monstropolis and you need to laugh, in which case, it's more powerful than screams.
It's true.
That's what I've heard.
This is what Tomorrowland has taught me.
This is what Tomorrowland has taught me. The voices you are hearing to my right. Theme park analyst Tyler Crouch, travel agent Katrina Manzoni. So great to have you back with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday.
The weather is getting a little cooler, and then I looked at it for next week, and I'm very sad.
110?
It is, yeah. It's it's going to go up 40 degrees. I'm like, oh no.
Just in time for 4th
okay.
of July.
No, thank you.
That's true. Yeah, 4th of July, something I always want to celebrate, but then when the time comes, I'm like, I'm too tired.
Too tired.
We're too old for this, man.
too
Can we
old.
just go home and just go to bed early and then just complain about how loud it is outside?
There
That's
it
what I
is.
sound like.
That's what the
Nonstop.
fireworks sound like outside of our house, yeah.
That's the only sound I ever hear coming from Tyler is that squabbling right there.
Oh,
Donald Duck
Tyler, not
style.
me.
That's me.
That's how he does it. Well, we can't begin a show unless we toast a new week. And Tyler does have that honor this week. So
That's right.
grab a cup of something good, a mug of something great. Hold it in the air. Tyler, who or what are we toasting?
So I mean, we've been talking about the dream a lot, and the wish. I mean, is what I meant. The wish. There's too many ship names.
Please,
A dream
people.
is a wish your heart makes,
It's
and
true.
that
Yeah, we've been
is
talking about the wish a
true.
lot. We're gonna
And
talk
I
about
treasure the adventure.
Yes,
Thank you.
We're gonna talk about the wish more today. But
I wonder what you will toast.
I just wanted to give a little love to another ship that is being created right now. The
Yep.
Treasure looks like it's going to be amazing. They have been talking about the Plaza de Coco, which is going to be the new restaurant
Yum.
with a little Coco show going on. And honestly, on the Wish, my favorite dining room was the Frozen one because of the fun show that they had. So I'm hoping they do like a similar thing for Coco, right? And the food looks amazing.
We love Mexican food.
You
I do love Mexican food.
So
Tableside
we're
guac.
down. Oh my god, we're so down.
There won't,
If that happened,
there will not be tableside guac. Don't get your hopes
they
up.
would be broke.
But also, I mean, I'm excited for the Scat Cat Lounge, an Aristocat themed lounge. I mean, that's going to be awesome. So, you know, this is all kind of new information that just came out, and I think we should just shed a little light on it and say, you know, welcome to the crew. Welcome to the crew, Disney Treasure. You know, so cheers. Sure. But cheers to the Disney Treasure.
Cheers to the Disney Treasure. Congratulations. A new ship joining the fleet.
That's right.
Cheers.
Delightful to have it aboard. No pun intended. It's going to be great to have yet another ship to explore, and hopefully a little bit better laid out than the Disney Wish. But we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. We do have that coming up a little bit later here today, where we will deep dive on our embarkation day as we all journeyed out to Orlando recently to explore that Disney Wish, to enjoy ourselves an itinerary out at sea. A lot to talk about on that front, where, of course, we'll start with Embarkation Day, but that is coming up here in just a bit. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, of course, because we always begin with the news here. If you've never joined us before, you are in luck because, well, we're going to grab you by the hand, walk you through this process known as our news review. And before we get to it and give you all the headlines from the week, let's start with the biggest news of the day, and that is this weekend is, in fact, Tiana's Bayou Adventure opening weekend out in Magic Kingdom. It is a long time coming. I remember when we were here many years ago sharing the news that this was coming to a place like Walt Disney World and, of course, later coming to Disneyland. Here to talk about it with us is somebody who knows a little bit about this attraction because they've been on it so many times. Drew the Disney Dude is a creator who brings you all sorts of Walt Disney World updates and lots of content via his social media channels. You can find him there at Drew Disney Dude, and also check out his YouTube channel, Drew the Disney Dude. Thanks for joining us to talk about Tiana's.
Welcome.
So, Drew, give a little bit of a backstory as to who you are, what you do, and we just told people where they can find you. So, why should they come find you?
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me on.
You bet.
It's a pleasure.
So, yeah, I mean, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. This has been like the last 6 months of my life now, where I've been covering pretty much every single detail and update on this attraction. And looking back to yesterday, which was the official opening day, it's crazy that it's open because, like, as I was documenting everything and sharing it and seeing how excited people were for it, then to finally have it be open officially, it's like, what do you mean it's open? Because I've been at Magic Kingdom so many times now where it's been under construction, and seeing all these changes in person and the Imagineers and the ride testing and the music and all these little milestones leading up to yesterday, and it's finally open. And yeah, I'm very excited that people finally get to experience it when it works.
And you got to, when it works is the key phrase here. It sounds like it has had some ups and downs. Talk to us a little bit about that. It sounds like there has been quite a few bumps in the road getting to this point where the official opening has now happened. Have you been on it where it has shut down on you?
So I have been very fortunate. I've been on it 20 times now. I was able to go on it a ton during previews. And somehow, through 20 rides, which I think is like the most out of any guest right now, which is crazy, I have not been evacuated or what Disney calls an in-show exit once, which I'm very grateful for. I've been on rides where like certain triggers haven't set, like certain sensors haven't triggered and like little issues, but I haven't been evacuated, thankfully. But coming back to your point kind of about the issues, there was a lot of people talking about the issues saying, well, this is because it's previews and this is like a technical rehearsal, so to say, and that everything was going to be resolved by opening day. But if we are being fully transparent here, those previews were not intended to go the way that they did, because Disney was basically advertising them as a perk to annual pass holders and cast members. And the main reason for those previews is pretty much to get the opening team prepared for opening day. And while evacuations or in-show exits, whatever you want to call them, do help with that, those are never done on purpose because they're being advertised like a perk, like I said. And it's been really unfortunate that the attraction has been suffering so heavy from these difficulties. I'm not going to speculate on why it's been going down and what the issues are. But what I will say is that they're not going to magically be resolved now that it's officially open, so to say. Those were not intended issues, and issues come up. If you look back at like Frozen Ever After, I compare Tiana's Bayou Adventure to Frozen Ever After because it's a re-themed log ride. And if you look back at Frozen, when it first opened all the way back in 2016, I feel like a lot of people very quickly forgot how bad Frozen was when it opened at Epcot, because Frozen kind of like the opening date was announced very shortly before it opened. There was no previews, there was not a lot of advertising at all, and then it barely made that opening day. And for months after, once Frozen officially opened in 2016, there was a ton of issues. And unfortunately, we're seeing that kind of right now with Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Like I said, I don't want to speculate on those issues, but hopefully, sooner than later, they can get them resolved, because when people are spending a lot of their time and money to come to Walt Disney World, you know, it's not cheap these days. Having your brand new attraction that's being advertised as officially open and then having up to 6 to 9 hour downtimes a day, not ideal by any means.
Stressful.
Them downtimes can get you. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You mentioned being on this attraction now 20 times. Very fortunate individual,
Yeah.
if I do say so myself. When you think about the comparisons, so you think about Splash Mountain, you think about Tiana's Bayou Adventure, what is much the same? And what did you see in terms of big differences? Obviously, it's a different story. We got that. But is there sort of a throwback at any point to Splash Mountain?
Yeah, so I think the big reason why I've talked a lot about, like, in my opinion, Tiana's Bayou Adventure built on Splash Mountain's legacy. And if you look at Splash Mountain, it was a critter-filled journey with music. And I think that Ted Robledo, the executive creative director of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, he was the one who oversaw the entire creative development. It was his creative vision that this attraction is now. And I think that he was well aware of the fact that he was leading a project replacing something so iconic with Splash Mountain that people loved very dearly for over 30 years, myself included. I was very fortunate to go on Splash Mountain 11 times in its final 3 days of operation just to like take it in and enjoy it. And I think that he really wanted to build on Splash Mountain's legacy with this next chapter story for Tiana, with a very similar core idea, with a musical celebration with critters. And that's, I could talk about this for hours, quite honestly, but the big reason why I love Tiana's Bayou Adventure so much is, like I said, it builds on Splash's legacy with a very similar core story with this musical-filled critter journey, but also the fact that even though it's based around The Princess and the Frog, which is an intellectual property, there is a ton of originality in this attraction because, for example, Princess Tiana has 2 original outfits, her Bayou Adventure outfit and her new gown in the finale. We see 19 new critters with distinct names and personalities. The storyline as a whole with Tiana's foods and her business is all original. So, like I said, you have a building on Splash Mountain's legacy, you have an original story, original characters, and I feel like a lot of the time people are complaining about Disney always doing so much IP. And like I said, I'm well aware that this is based around The Princess and the Frog, but it is an original story. And when you think back to something like Splash Mountain, I think to answer your question about like some of the similarities, obviously the story, like I mentioned, but also if you look back to Splash when it opened in 1992, the last time we got an attraction with this many audio animatronics figures was Splash Mountain. I think it was around 68 figures. And Disney is saying that Tiana's Bayou Adventure officially has 48. So while it's not anywhere near the total of Splash, it's around 20 less figures, I don't know if we're ever going to get an attraction again that comes close to 48 audio animatronics. And also with these A1000 figures, like you guys are seeing right now on screen with Princess Tiana, these are some of the best audio animatronics we have ever seen made. So similarity-wise, there's a lot of similarities with the core idea, but I think the biggest difference is kind of like the atmospheric vibe. If you look at, I think that this is also why there's been some criticism towards it, because if you look at Splash Mountain, the attraction took place during the day. All of the show scenes were very bright and welcoming, And Tiana's Bayou Adventure is very authentically a Bayou adventure where those scenes are much darker to where they do not pick up on video. If you look at videos of Splash Mountain, you can very clearly see everything. If you look at a video of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and this is coming from someone who loves this attraction more than anything, if you watch videos of the attraction, it looks boring because it's dark. But once you are experiencing it in person, the atmosphere comes alive around you. And I think that that is the biggest difference, is the atmosphere going from an attraction set during the day to a bayou adventure that takes place under this dark bayou with fireflies around you. And that's really something that you can only experience with your own eyes in person.
That's good to know.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I remember how sort of convinced we were when this was brought to light that they hadn't really thought much about how this attraction was going to play and exactly what they were going to do. They had some very, we'll just call it moderate concept art. I mean, it felt like it was kind of thrown together, if I recall correctly, when we first heard about this. And then over the course of time, they fine-tuned it. And I'm kind of glad that it took them so long to get to this point where they've opened the attraction. I remember having that conversation with you guys.
It felt very reactionary to like political things going on in the beginning, you know. So it's good to see that they've just fleshed it out. And I do love the idea actually that it's a continuation of the story. I think at first I was upset that, you know, I mean, Dr. Facilia is like one of my favorite villains, I think, and like that he's, you know, barely featured in there. And, you know, so, but then when you think about it in the long run, it's kind of like exactly what you were saying. It is an IP, but because it's a brand new story, it doesn't feel like we're just rehashing. It's not like, you know, Frozen Ever After feels like it's just kind of like cliff notes of what happened in the movie, you know? So it's kind of nice to have this whole new experience, and the new music and everything too seems amazing. So I've been kind of keeping a little bit far away from it because I want to experience it myself. So I've seen like clips and things, but I haven't watched the full ride yet because I just
please don't.
That's
the best thing you can do. I like yesterday at opening day, I probably met around 25 people just being there in the environment. And whenever I ask people like, what did you think, I'm like, please tell me your honest thoughts, just because this has been like my thing for the last 6 months. I don't want you to say you liked it even if you didn't. And I think a lot of them were like, we were pleasantly surprised at how much better it is in person and just experiencing it with your own eyes. And it's funny, yesterday morning, I saw Carmen Smith, who is the SVP of Executive Creative Development at Walt Disney Imagineering and Disney Experiences. And I was like, if you and I were to go see a movie at AMC right now, nobody reviews a movie before you see the movie. And even something like a movie is just on a screen. But if you look at an attraction with 360 degrees of immersion, why would anyone think it's appropriate to review that attraction beforehand? And that's where I'm kind of like, I understand why Disney wanted to officially reveal their attraction so that once preview started back on June 1st, then that had like now 28 days of free promotion for the attraction. I totally understand it, but the execution wasn't there. And like I said, just the fact that it's a nighttime ride, a nighttime vibe, it just doesn't translate as well to video. So I think that, like I said, something with that you're experiencing 360 immersion where you need to be looking in certain ways and being able to appreciate all the details like the fireflies, you can't really review that until you've gone on it in person a few times, I would say.
That's outstanding. I know we were all very much of the mind that if they were going to do this and replace sort of this iconic Splash Mountain that people had come to know and love over the course of time, that they needed to really deliver on the story, and they needed to give Tiana something she deserved. If they weren't going to give her own standalone attraction built from the ground up, if it was going to be a retrofit, we were hoping, please don't be on the cheap. Does it feel like, now having been on it more than 20 times, does it feel like an attraction that they really put a lot of money into?
Yes. So there is a ton of, I'm not going to speculate on the millions that they spent on this, but I mean, if you think about between what they've spent here at Walt Disney World and still it's under construction at Disneyland Park right now, opening this fall, there was very clearly a ton of money and love and labor poured into this attraction. Yet there are some very valid points that people are giving feedback-wise. I'm not saying that this is a perfect attraction by any means. Like, I don't want to talk about too many details because I know that people going into it, I want them to experience it with their own eyes. But there is a lot of valid feedback on ways that the attraction could be improved. And I think that that's the difference, not between good and great, but like the difference between almost great and perfect. Because in person, I love it, truly. I'm not just saying that. I've been on it 20 times, like I said. And I share that because it's not like the recency bias. I feel like once you go on something for the first time and you're kind of like in that emotional moment, and you're like, oh, that was so fun. And it's a lot easier to say that you love something. And then once you kind of step back on it, sometimes you're like, oh, then you can kind of take a deeper look at things and what you liked and didn't like. But I've been on it 20 times and I love it just as much now as the first time. But it's not a cheap retheme by any means. I mean, the fact that they committed to doing 48 audio animatronics, many of these A1000s, which are the brand new, the most innovative animatronics ever done in-house by Walt Disney Imagineering in its 70 years of existence. I mean, especially Tiana in the finale, Lewis is over 8 feet tall. These things are ridiculous and they're so fluent. Um, but like I said, there's a lot of valid feedback on how the attraction could be improved. But overall, it's a blast, and it's not cheap by any means. The exterior was fully transformed, and like you guys were mentioning with the concept art, even if you look back to like what was revealed at D23 Expo in 2022, if you look back at the artist rendering of the outside of the ride, the final product here at Walt Disney World is a million times better than what that rendering showed. Even the model for Disneyland, what they were showing then at D23, I believe at the time, was like the final product because they had the model done. But what we're seeing with the actual construction, the final product, is even better than that. So I think that there has been a lot of, like you said, development getting these things finalized, and the final product has turned out even better than I expected as a whole, I would say.
That's terrific to hear. You know, Fred from our chat says he's curious to know if in 10 to 20 years will Tiana's still feel the same because of the now outdated IP, or will it be a timeless ride in your opinion?
Okay, that is a very, very good question. And I think that the big reason why I think that Tiana's will be perfectly fine 10 to 15 years from now is because regardless of knowing anything about the Princess and the Frog, anyone can have a fun time with critter animals, audio animatronics figures playing music. I think that there was a, I don't know this for certain, but I think that there was a idea within the project team that worked on this ride that they wanted to make this something that the entire family can enjoy. You know, once you have your kids that are 40 inches tall because of the 50-foot drop. And I've been making jokes that like in the song, Tiana says you don't need an invitation and that anyone can come, but you can only go on the ride if you have a virtual queue and you're 40 inches tall. But I think the fact that they decided to go with this next chapter story, this stands on its own in a sense. Like you don't need to know anything about the Princess and the Frog because the entire story for this attraction is set up in the queue line. So if I went and found a random family and they said, no, we have not seen the Princess and the Frog before, I think that they would just enjoy these characters because they're fun. Like Tiana is clearly the main character of the story. And then you have this giant alligator and he's like a warm, fuzzy character. And the critters are lovable. I had my dad bring me in the Apollo plush.
No.
I don't,
Nice.
like they're just fun little critters. And like I think back to like when Disneyland Park opened in 1955, Disneyland and like the Walt Disney Company as a whole were born on originality. So to see the creative team for this attraction realize, hey, we have these characters that people already love, you know, for 15 years now. The Princess and the Frog released in 2009, and as of this December, it'll be 15 years old. But I think, like I said, you have something like the Princess and the Frog. Didn't have any representation in a Disney park really. I don't really count like the parades or character meet and greets. It's just nothing major in the big picture. But you have characters that are loved, and then you bring in these new characters that are going to be loved. And I think that because it's so simple overall, it really is a simple attraction. You're just finding these critters and its musical performances all brought together for one attraction. I think because of that, anyone can enjoy it. And if you look at attractions that have aged well over the last, 50 years, I think it's because that those are things that people can enjoy regardless of understanding the backstory. And while Tiana does have a ton of backstory for the nerds like myself who will dive into that stuff and pick up every little single detail, you don't need to know those things to enjoy it.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I kind of think of it too with like Song of the South, right? I feel like most of the people that went on Splash Mountain didn't really watch that movie at any point in their life, but it was still such a beloved attraction, and it really just boiled down to the music and the visuals just being so much fun, and and of course that drop at the end. I mean, the drop is, you can't deny the drop is just part of the fun too, but I think this ride is gonna probably be around for a long time, and people are still gonna I think it'll become just as beloved as Splash Mountain, if not more, eventually. Because if you think about it too, not that many princesses even have rides, so it's nice for some princess action to get out there, and hopefully we can see more of that stuff. I love I love that they're diving deep into just more of the not history, but just more of the inside of the movie, more of the inside of the universe. That's what I want to see more from rides in the future.
Before I forget this thought, another thing I've been thinking too about Tiana's is like, if I look at Splash Mountain, right, kind of like Wade, what you said earlier, would I say that Tiana's is a better attraction than Splash Mountain? I actually wouldn't. And that's because Splash Mountain was built from the ground up. Splash Mountain was designed, the entire thing, as Splash Mountain.
Right.
Where Tiana's is a reimagined version of Splash Mountain. And like if you look at Frozen Ever After, coming back to Frozen and Maelstrom, you would never know the Maelstrom's there because it's inside of just the box show building. Whereas with Splash, it was this massive structure with Chickapin Hill at the top, and it was an iconic structure. So that's still there. Like you still have this shape of the Salt Dome now that they're calling it in the story. But like it still has a lot of the Splash Mountain bones to it, and now they've just changed how it looks. And kind of like you said, with the 50-foot drop, at its core, it's a fun log flume. Like literally, if you just went on this ride without any theming whatsoever, the track layout is fun because there's multiple drops, it curves, and it's a good designed ride at its core. Another thing too is that I think that with newer attractions we see these days, they're at best 5 minutes long. Whereas because this is a reimagined Splash, it's 10 minutes long here at Walt Disney World and it's 8 minutes long at Disneyland. So that allows you to be immersed in that world for a longer period of time because it's a reimagined attraction. Like Tron Light Cycle Run. I love Tron. It's a fantastic coaster, especially the launch, but it's a 60-second long coaster. So you're putting all this time and effort to getting on it for a 60-second coaster, and then you're like, oh, that's it? And do you have fun on it? Absolutely. I love the coaster. But something like Tiana's, getting to be immersed in that Bayou world for 10 minutes is not something that we get anymore, let alone 48 audio animatronics.
That payoff matters,
Mm-hmm.
that's for sure. Well,
Yeah.
Drew, thank you so much for your insight on this topic. I understand you're going to stick with us through to the other side. Is that right?
Well, let's do it, man.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
Well, we have a lot of other Disney news headlines to catch up on from the past week. It is time for the Disney News Review.
Disney News Review time, taking a look at some of the biggest stories from across the Walt Disney Company in the past week. The Disneyland Resort celebrating halfway to the holidays. That's right, we are almost there, believe it or not. The Disneyland Resort sharing that their 2024 holiday season will kick off at the Anaheim destination on November 15th, 2024. In addition to that, an overhaul of the way in which Mickey and Minnie Mouse decide to dress for the season. Yep, they are going to have new ensembles featuring cute postal details and plenty of pom-poms and stripes, all the better to take photos with. KTLA reports new changes are coming to Disneyland's Genie Plus service, the park's paid line skipping service beginning in July. The names Disney Genie Plus and Lightning Lane are changing at both coastal theme park resorts beginning on July 24th. Disney Genie Plus will soon be known as Lightning Lane Multi-Pass, while individual Lightning Lanes will soon be known as Lightning Lane Single Pass. Disneyland says the way guests purchase, select, and redeem Lightning Lane passes at the Disneyland Resort will remain the same. The complimentary features of the Disney Genie service will continue to be available via the Disneyland app. The new changes to Disney Genie Plus were due in part to guest feedback, according to the Disney Parks blog. These changes are making an even bigger impact at Walt Disney World, as USA Today reports. Starting July 24th, Genie Plus will be called Lightning Lane Multi-Pass, and individual Lightning Lanes will be called Lightning Lane Single Passes, but that's not the biggest change. Beginning that same day, guests will be able to reserve rides and shows ahead of time instead of having to wait for park days, as part of changes first teased in May 2023. Lightning Lane passes will blend features from our current services and the previously offered Fast Pass Plus service, giving guests the choice to plan ahead and removing the hassle of planning during their vacation, the Florida resort announced on Tuesday. Here's what guests should know. The Lightning Lane Multi-Pass will include the same rides currently covered by Genie Plus, as well as Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which opens on June 28th. A la carte Lightning Lane Single Passes will be available for the most popular attractions at each park, like individual Lightning Lanes. However, starting July 24th, guests will no longer have to wait for their park day to reserve experiences. Guests staying at Disney World resort hotels can make selections up to 7 days in advance, all at once, for up to 14 days of their stay. Other guests can make selections up to 3 days in advance. Guests can make up to 3 advanced Lightning Lane multi-pass selections for each day of their trip, and once they arrive at the park and complete their first experience, they can book additional experiences pending availability. Lightning Lane single passes remain limited to 2 per day, like individual Lightning Lanes are currently. Guests will also be able to see prices and select attraction times before purchasing passes, so you know what you're getting. Currently, guests have to purchase Genie Plus before they can see availability. Disney World's app and website will be updated for easier planning and purchasing. ClickOrlando.com writes, Disney fans can begin planning their holiday travels as Walt Disney World has released the dates of its Christmas park events throughout the resorts. The parks confirmed Monday that Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party at Magic Kingdom will return November the 8th, and Jollywood Nights at Disney's Hollywood Studios is set to return November the 9th. The 2 separately ticketed events run on select nights in November and December and transform the 2 parks into holiday wonderlands with special character meet and greets, parades, shows, and tasty treats. Tickets for both events go on sale July 2nd for resort guests and July 10th for the general public. In addition to that, Epcot guests will once again experience a taste of the holidays around the world this year. Starting November 29th and running through December 30th, Epcot will feature holiday kitchens around its World Showcase, along with storytellers, entertainment, and more. The nightly candlelight processional, which features a celebrity narrator telling the Christmas story and a full orchestra and choir, will also be back. Guests can save up to 30% on Walt Disney World hotel rooms during the 2024 holiday season and get free park hopper benefits if they upgrade to a Walt Disney Travel Company package, at least according to WDW News Today. They write, the offer is available for stays most nights from November 24th through December 25th. Guests can also save up to 20% on stays most Sunday to Thursday nights from October 6th through November 21st. Guests get free park hopper benefits when they take advantage of the offer and upgrade to a Walt Disney Travel Company room and ticket package that includes non-discounted 4-day plus date-based theme park tickets. The offer excludes 3-bedroom villas, deluxe suites, cabins at Copper Creek Villas, cabins at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, and bungalows and island tower rooms at Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows. The minimum length of stay is 1 night, and the maximum is 14 nights.
And certainly that's one of the other biggest stories of the week. Disney Genie Plus, specifically out at Walt Disney World, going through some big changes by comparison of what we have known this program to be. Tyler, why this change? Why now, do you think?
I mean, I think they've said it themselves, honestly, that people are unhappy with the current system, and I'm one of them. It just doesn't seem like worth the time and effort to go through this stuff, I feel like, a lot of the time. And the other thing is too is like showing up the day of and having to just like plan your day from there. Like, what are we gonna do? Oh my gosh! Like, you get to the park and the first thing you do is bury your head in the cell phone, and you're all just standing in a circle, being like, okay, we got to book this, we got to book that. It's like, you want to get your day started. You don't want to be standing there just trying to figure this stuff out on your cell phone, especially when you're at one of the best places in the planet. So, I think this had to happen at some point. I just think it is. The only reason I think it's happening now, possibly, is because they are probably struggling for hotels. I think that's the one thing I can think of is they're just like, we want people to stay here at our hotels. We'll give them 14-day window, because that they know that made so many people happy back in the day when they were doing the 3 fast passes. And
It's a 7-day, right?
7 days.
A 7-day window.
Oh, I thought it was. I'm
No,
sorry.
then 3 for non-hotel.
My bad. Okay. What was the 14 days? I swear it said 14 somewhere. But anyway, I'm making that up, I suppose.
Sounds
anyway,
good. I like that.
Yeah, 14 days sounds better than 7. But yeah, it's a 7-day window. So but I think that's still better. Right? And I think a lot of people who are like scared of planning, I've seen a couple people be like, oh, I just like going to the park and doing whatever I can. But it's like,
No.
so many more people out there just really need to get these plans in, and it just makes a lot of sense. And I think just COVID stopped it, number one. And then, like I said, I think they're kind of struggling to get people to stay in their hotels a little bit.
Got a lot of rooms, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Katrina, there appears to be some added convenience with these changes, as Tyler was mentioning.
Yeah.
How do you imagine alterations will help families plan their trips?
Oh my God, huge.
Huge!
Oh my God, huge.
Look out.
Like, the thing is when they created this Genie Plus to make life easier, it made it even more difficult, because before they were like, okay, it's 7 a.m. You can go buy your stuff. And then, or was it not even before then? And so you have to wake up grab your Genie Plus, and then they go, oh, we're going to change it, JK. Now you can buy your Genie Plus at 12:01 in the morning to make sure you get it before it sells out. And then you wake up on your vacation at 12:01 to go buy your Genie Plus because they scare the shit out of you. And then at like 7 in the morning, you get to book it. How exciting. So now you're trying to get your kids ready in the shower while you're trying to grab the fast pass while your husband's probably taking a poo. And then you're just trying to like juggle everything to get them out, you know, to get the day started. And that's stressful, right? And then on top of what Tyler said too, where people are like, I think it's fun to just wing it. Oh my God, for me, no. I want to plan my day to like understand what's going on so at least I can like get to the park and know what my 3 things are, right? That was the best part of the Fast Pass system back in the day, right? It was so exciting to like sit down, talk about what we wanted to do. You know, obviously it was going to be like Flight of Passage was like the number one thing we were always going to try to get. And but it was just nice to know we were going to go to the park and have it ready, right? You get the 3, boom. And then in between those times, we either went to lunch or we went to another ride that was like shorter queue. And I think that's really important to know is now you can actually stay at a hotel, right? A Disney hotel, you get 7 days in advance to book it. And then now you can at least get 3 rides in. You know that park, you do your 3 rides, and then you hop on the phone and start grabbing another one for another park if you want. So at least you know that you got 3 dedicated rides that you know you're going to be going on. And then maybe if you don't get a good ride, you know to stand in line for that while you wait for your other fast passes to show up. So I think that's great. Huzzah. I think, this is going to be huge. And especially for travel agents, too. I mean, when they changed it to Genie Plus, it made us more worthless in a way because before I had fun when people were like, okay, I don't know what rides to do. And I'm like, I got you. And then I would wake up in the morning, try to grab fast passes when like logging into their account and grabbed them. And I was like, okay, these are the ones that I did. If you want to change them, but you're set. Right? It made them feel more secure being like, oh, I'm so glad I did this. Yeah. Even though they don't pay for the travel agent, it's nice to have some backup for information, right? Like that's the whole point of booking with a travel agent. Because we're free to you, right? Sure. And we're just like the knowledge. And then we just spew it out in front. And you don't, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, just listen. And then, but now they're coming back with it. And I think that's great because now we're kind of more important again, right? We're able to like help you set up your vacation so you can relax because that's the whole point, right? Disney World's stressful. It's so stressful and it makes me like insane because if you don't know what you're doing and you're just showing up day of, okay.
Good luck.
I mean, I think about the people that come like internationally or things like that, and this is like their once in a lifetime opportunity to come, and they're here for a week, and
this is
they
the
don't
only
get
problem.
to plan any of their stuff, and then they don't get to do the things they want to do. Like they have like 2 days at Epcot, and they didn't get Guardians both days or something like that. It's just like
that won't work for them with this, though, unfortunately.
Well, but I'm just saying in general, it's I want to just say some of my confusion earlier was that it's up. You can book it 7 days in advance for up to a 14-day stay.
Oh, there's your 14.
So that's where I got the 14 days from.
14-day
okay.
stay. That's nice.
So I mean, that's pretty good if you think about it, because that is like 3 weeks in advance from the end of your trip. So
it's true.
Big time. Well, Drew, big changes to Genie Plus. Your thoughts on those changes happening specifically in Orlando? Not so much in terms of what Disneyland is going to go through. It sounds like the majority of the heavy lifting when it comes to Genie Plus's changes are happening in Disney World.
Oh.
I think that the most ironic thing about this to me is that if you kind of like what Katrina was saying, is whenever Genie Plus launched, it added so much confusion. And it seems like now that from leadership, there has been a realization that what we had with FastPass Plus, where you can book your 3 rides and have some like stability of knowing what you're doing for your day, is kind of what we're going back to now. And I feel if they would have launched this multi-pass service immediately from the transition to FastPass with no Genie Plus, that would have made people like the system a little bit more from the beginning, because it would have eliminated this entire window we had with all of this confusion with Genie Plus. And I think that the fact that they're going back to a more familiar system will hopefully make planning better for people because, like we've talked about, it is stressful and not cheap to go to a Disney park these days. And to be able to have that ability to just wake up and go and you know what you're doing without having to worry about booking things at 7 a.m. like what Katrina was saying with the family and kids and planning. And I think just being able to wake up and go to a park is very nice. The only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is it seems like they are very clearly, like what Tyler said, trying to make this a resort perk. And one of the like FAQs that they have not acknowledged yet is if there's going to be like buckets of releases, because for resort guests it's 7 days before, but then for everyone else it's 3 days before. So if all the resort guests book up all the e-ticket attractions like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, then what are the people going to do with the 3 days if no more inventory is released? So I'm really hoping that there's a little bit of inventory that's released for that 3 day window so that if you aren't staying in a Disney hotel, if you would like to buy this multi-pass service, that you actually have a chance to go on the attractions you want to. Otherwise, no one's going to be buying this for like the C&D tickets. And then everyone who bought it 7 days out is going to have a ton of availability for those attractions because no one's buying it the day of, if that makes sense. So I hope there's some of these questions answered closer to the launch, but I do hope that it resolves a lot of this confusion because a lot of it is familiar from what we had in the past.
Big time.
Fair.
Absolutely. And I think you're right that they just are trying to make it finally less confusing again because, I mean, I can't remember, like when they first came out with the whole Genie Plus system, they were like, well, first there's Lightning Lane and there's Genie Plus. And like, it's like, what do these terms mean? Like, why didn't you just keep it Fast Pass? Because everybody knew what Fast Pass meant. Look, I don't really understand why they changed the whole nomenclature to begin with, you know, but for them to just be kind of backpedaling, like you say, and going back to how it used to be, I think it proves that they didn't really make a good choice. You know?
I mean, I still miss the Max Pass at Disneyland. I am really sad they're not bringing this to Disneyland. They're just like keeping it the same, which is fine because it's a smaller place. It's okay. But I still really miss that perk for Max Pass because it was just like whoever got there first and checked into and like actually went through the turnstile got first dibs, and that was fair. You know what I mean? But I do miss it for the annual pass, like adding it to my annual pass and able to do it because this like Genie Plus for annual passes is like really expensive. I did it a couple times just to do Mickey Minnie Runaway Railway, and I was like, ew, no.
They got you.
This is expensive. I can't do this.
Well, and let's not forget the pitch person for Genie Plus originally, America's darling, Bob Chapek.
Oh, man. I almost forget he exists sometimes.
I don't know how you can forget he exists. He deserves every toast, I would think. Huh?
Yeah, no.
I'm not
every
gonna raise
toast.
my cup.
Sorry.
Oh, no. I'm sure he's
No.
resting easy with his golden parachute somewhere in the Hollywood Hills.
Hello?
just
Yeah.
over our
Hello?
shoulder.
Hello? Hello?
Michael Eisner.
Michael, you're here.
Michael, please come back to us. Well, you let us know. When you think about the Genie Plus changes, when you think about the way in which Disney World is kind of restructuring things, you going to buy into this? Are you excited? Does this make life a little bit easier for you? We want to hear it down in the comments. All right, y'all. Get your thinking cap on it. It's time for some Disney trivia. Disney trivia time. Taking a look at some of the best questions possible that we could throw at our team. This time around, Tyler Crouch, Katrina Manzone, special guest, Drew the Disney Dude, hanging out with us to talk some trivia, and of course, off-camera producer Tony. We do have a Disney World attraction. Oh, and another guest. Oh, my gosh. We do have a Disney World attraction trivia question to start things off with. Putting it in your home court, Drew.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
No pressure, no pressure.
No pressure, no pressure. Here we go. In what year did the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh open at Magic Kingdom in Florida? Was it A, 1999, B, the year 2000, or C, 2002? Drew, I don't want to see your eyes wandering to any phone. I don't want to see
I don't
your
know the
eyes
answer to
wandering
this.
to any computer. So we're going to start with you.
I don't know why I'm thinking 1999, but I truly don't know the answer, so I don't want to pretend I do.
Oh, this guy. So is that what you're sticking with?
I'm gonna stick with 1999 just because I have no idea.
Okay. Simple. Look at that. Katrina, Walt Disney World's Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. It opened in Magic Kingdom in what year? 1999, 2000, or 2002?
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. Honey,
Honey.
if you will.
Little bees.
Little bees
Flying around.
doing their thing.
Buzzing around.
Buzzing around,
Little
pollinating.
bzz, bzz,
Right.
a little,
Little zzz.
and then he just goes.
Oh, that's what he does. Little Tigger jumps.
Okay, well, I don't know. I was hoping Drew would help me out here. Clearly not on this question. So I'm going to say maybe 2000, because if there was an anniversary, they would have like pimped it out, right?
Usually. Yeah.
At some point.
Kind of what they do.
Yeah. So if it was like 1999, they would have already done it, right? At that point for an anniversary?
I suppose.
2002? There's nowhere near an anniversary yet.
No idea.
So, you know what? I'm going to say 2000. No, I'm going to say 2000.
Nope.
It just sounds right.
Okay.
Little bees buzzing around.
2000.
Sitting in a honey
bees
pot.
buzzing.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Tyler, in what year did the mini adventures of Winnie the Pooh open at Magic Kingdom? 1999, 2000, 2002.
I think I went on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in 1998.
Did you?
Oh.
I think so.
Oh.
So I think I'm going to say that it's a 2002.
Because Disney takes a while.
Because, well, for those that don't know, that Winnie the Pooh took over where Mr. Toad's Wild Ride used to be, right? So, I mean, I think I'm going to go 2002.
2002 it is. Producer Tony, in what year did the mini adventures of Winnie the Pooh open at Magic Kingdom in Florida? Was it 99, 2000, or 2002?
Oh, Pooh. I don't know the answer.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, right. 2001.
Oh.
Is that a B and a half?
Yeah, B and a half.
Really?
I'm going to go with B, 2000, just because bee and
Bees.
honey. Get it?
Oh, there you go.
So that's my answer.
Wow.
Smart.
Look at you guys and all your reasoning. My gosh. Well, the correct answer for in what year did the mini adventures of Winnie the Pooh open at Magic Kingdom in Florida? Drew, congratulations, winning your very first trivia with us, 1999.
Look at that.
Bravo.
We should have all,
Watch
we should have
out,
all
Garrett.
known. We should have
A
known.
little bit of information I knew on this attraction from Kevin Rafferty's book. I guess I read that number somewhere and I remembered it somehow.
It was
There
in
you
your
go.
head, huh?
Sure.
Sure thing. Well, very good. Congratulations to you. Our next question
Thank you.
happens to deal with a Disneyland side attraction. In what year did the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror have its official grand opening at California Adventure? Was it A, 2003, B, 2004, or C, 2005? Drew,
I'm thinking 2004. I'm going with 2004.
what makes you think that?
I don't know. I'm thinking that I've read that number somewhere.
Did you read that
but
too somewhere?
I could
Kevin
be
Rafferty's
wrong.
book tell you that?
I feel like over the years, like you'll see those like random posts with information, but I don't know if I'm right. So I guess we'll have to find out. But I'm gonna go 2004.
2004. All right. Katrina, in what year did the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror have its official grand opening at California Adventure? 03, 04, 05.
I'm trying to remember when they closed it for Guardians to like understand time.
It's like, what do you, I mean, who even knows how old they were last year? This is difficult.
I don't.
Am I right?
It's so hard.
It's so hard. What is time?
What
What is
is
time?
time?
How do you deal?
And
The ever
And
flowing
the-
river.
dang it, Tyler.
What is time?
Okay, I am going to say what were the question? What was it?
2003, 2004, 2005.
You know what? I'm gonna say B. I'm just gonna go with B. I have no
2004.
reasoning for
Okay,
this.
great. Tyler,
So-
Twilight Zone opened in what year? 03, 04, 05.
So I did graduate high school in 2004.
Hell of a year.
Congratulations.
I went to grad night that year.
You party hard.
Party
They
hardy.
made us park behind Tower of Terror,
So it was there.
and we had to walk all the way from Tower of Terror to Disneyland in this group of bunch of kids smoking drugs. And
Filthy kids.
anyway, so now my question is did it open earlier 2004 or was it 2003? I'm going to guess 2003 because I'm assuming they wanted that ride open for the summer. But maybe they wanted it could have been open for the summer or for Christmas, but it's weird to open a ride like
for Halloween.
Oh,
Spooky.
it's a scary ride.
yeah, so
spooky
I'm going
time.
to say 2003.
Somebody, Lifeline, Rod Sterling in here. Get him in.
Yeah, get him in. He knows.
Tony, in what year did the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror have its official grand opening at California Adventure? 03, 04, or 05?
Before I answer,
Oh.
Ayo.
this guy.
Right. I'm just going to stick with B. Yeah.
Same with me.
Look at you people. All right. Well, the answer is B, 2004.
Wow.
Tony, we did it!
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a
Drew,
wiener.
2 for 2. Look at this guy over here.
What a hero.
Wow. You know, the person that normally sits in your seat, Drew, our own Garrett Hassel, he's on a honeymoon right now,
So romantic.
is known as the common loser.
It's true.
You'll hear that sound quite often when he's sitting in that seat. But you, sir,
Won.
reversing the fortunes.
Win it.
Amazing.
Good for you.
I'm changing the
Congratulations.
tide right now.
Yeah. Living on a high life. That's
true.
our Drew.
That's true.
There he is. Yeah.
A Miller High Life?
The Miller High Life?
Oh my God.
No.
No.
Doing his best, though, and winning. Attaboy. Well, we want to thank you for playing along at home. As always, get your thinking caps on when it's time for Disney Trivia. You know Kingdom Report Live has got you covered. You stick around. There's more Kingdom Report Live for you next.
You know, Walt Disney, he is seen as sort of this mythical creature nowadays, this magical man that could do no wrong. And yet, he spent most of his life steeped in failure. From heartache to betrayal to death and even a breakdown of his own. It's often said that artists are tortured souls, and I think it's safe to say that Walt Disney was a tortured soul by his own standards most of his life. Walt Disney had to do some of the hardest things any person can do, and that is convince others of unimaginable dreams he had solely in his head. And oftentimes he had to stand alone in his own visions to make them happen. He was surrounded by family, he was surrounded by fawning fans in the public wherever he went, and yet so often he had to stand alone in his decisions and his choices. Only he understood what it was he was trying to do. He's more like you and me than I think a lot of us assume. Stand Alone, The Walt Disney Way. 10 Lessons for Harnessing Your Own Magic. A new book by me, Wade Heath. Available at Amazon or wherever books are sold. Be inspired by Walt Disney all over again.
Disney Trip Report time. Here to talk about the list of things that we enjoy the most when it comes to the Disney Wish. Who is we, you might be asking? Well, that's a great question. My name is Wade. I'm alongside Tyler Crouch, Katrina Manzoni, and Drew the Disney Dude just hanging out with us here today to listen in on our experience when it comes to our recent trip on the Disney Wish today. Specifically, though, all about Embarkation Day. From Walt Disney World to getting to the ship and boarding, we are going to take you through that. Tyler, this was an experience where together we went as a group, right? We were there
did.
for Garrett's wedding.
Garrett's wedding.
Our baby boy.
To
our
a
baby
mermaid named Ariel.
Kingdom Report reporter Garrett Hassel was the man getting married on the ship. Therefore, we decided we needed to be there. We needed
Support.
to witness, right?
Of
True
course.
support. That's right.
We France.
We France. Yeah, we are. So we started our journey at Walt Disney World, all staying at the fabulous Disney's Coronado Springs Resorts. And, from that starting point, Tyler, you were our driver.
That's right.
You
This guy.
were.
I
in
rented a
our-
car.
You sure did. Take us through that process. So you rented a car. How long did it take us to get there? Take us through the journey from that starting point of Coronado Springs out to Port Canaveral.
Boy, I'm trying to even remember how long it took us. I think it took us 45 minutes or so, probably.
About an
I
hour.
guess maybe about an hour.
It's a bit of a blur.
Yeah, I mean, we were having so much fun that it seemed like it
We
was
were
just
just
minutes.
chatting away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just chatting it up.
We were.
But yeah, I mean, I think that it was a pretty easy drive, especially because we left pretty early. We left at like 9 in the morning or so, and there's the beautiful Grandestino there.
That was beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I miss it so much.
I can smell it right now.
But we just, it was a leisurely drive, to be honest with you. We just made it pretty quickly over there, and I think it's fairly easy once you get to the actual port as well too, because as soon as you get there, you have people directing you to where you need to go, and The porter was quick. He just walked right up to us. They told us what number to go to. It was a quick situation. And then after that, we handed off our bags and we just got into the parking lot. I mean, it was pretty easy. I have nothing to complain about, really. It was a smooth trip.
Not a lot to look at on this journey.
No.
A lot of
Yeah.
flat land there in Central Florida out to the coast. But then we made it on out to the ship itself. And there's nothing like that anticipation as we drive up to see the Disney Wish for the first time. Quite the spectacular sight, Katrina.
Oh my gosh, look at this. It's just so fun because the anticipation starts building as you get to that last, 10, 15 minutes of the drive, right? Because then you start seeing water.
Yeah.
And because you literally have nothing.
I'm getting close.
Literally nothing to look at. And except for this beautiful driver that I have that was driving us safely.
What a vision.
That's right.
But then when you finally hit water, you're like, oh my God, you cross the bridge and you see like little ships out in the distance. And then you start seeing them get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're like, wow, look at this. And then you finally see the mouse. And
There
then
it
you
is.
know, there it is. Trip has begun.
Quality at
It's
sea.
getting there.
Drew, have you ever been on a Disney cruise vacation by chance?
I keep forgetting to unmute myself.
That's all.
I was saying that I've been on a Disney cruise when I was very little, but I don't really have like any great memories of it. I think I'm just such a diehard parks fan that like going into a cruise, I'd be like, what is this about? Whereas like with the parks, I know them like the back of my hand.
Mhm.
But I am curious to hear about your guys' cruise because I know that you guys are parks people as well.
Mhm.
So I will take all of this information in and
Absorb.
I'll just sit back and I'll spectate this.
Ah,
Yeah.
bravo, sir. Well, you mentioned, Tyler, arriving, the porter process, that experience there. Handoff to parking, was it quick for you? I mean, everything was carry-on for me, so
It's true. He bolted.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
handed the bags over.
Goodbye.
He's like, bye. And I was
mean-
like, oh.
Thanks for the ride, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, we gave the guy the bags, and he gave us some tickets, and then the bags magically appeared in front of our room later in the day, and the parking lot, because we were there early enough too. We literally just waited in line for maybe a minute and a half,
To
and
grab
then
our ticket,
to grab our
pay.
ticket, and then we just go up. I think the parking was $75 or something like that.
Yeah, it was $75 for the length.
Yeah.
Because it's already kind of preset. So as soon as you drive up to the booth, you put your credit card in, it shoots you out a ticket, you lift it up, you drive on. So they kind of, they already know how many days you're going to be parking there and
Right.
stuff. So they already kind of gauge it. But yeah, and then we just drove up to level 2 or something. Level 3 is like where the bridge is. And then you just go whoop, and then you just walk across the bridge. And then we saw you. We waved from
You waved.
above. And
Sun was
then
down.
we walked back down, and then I ran to go pee because the drive was too long. And then and that was it. And then we just pretty much we were in concierge.
Mhm.
We wore our hats.
You wear your hats.
I was nautical today.
Oh,
Thought
so
it'd be
nautical.
fun for theme.
Well done.
But we did concierge, so we were able to board whenever. So that's why we left really early. So we get boarding whenever we want, or when So we wanted to get there ASAP, pretty much when boarding started, and then we got to when they check your documents and everything, and that was simple. There was like 2 people in line in front of us. Easy
Yeah.
peasy.
The arrival process was just a breeze for us. I mean, literally just handed them the passport. They took a picture of us, and that was it. I mean, it was simple. Once we got to the port, or once we got inside, I should say, they had somebody take us to their concierge room. It was a concierge waiting
I have
room.
to say this though. So after you check in, they give you a golden sticker.
Oh,
You
that's
gotta
right.
put it on your shirt because that's how they know if you're a concierge or not. And so then it was so fun because it reminded me of like Hallmark card, and they're like, "Here's your golden sticker," and you go poop, and then you walk up, and then that's when their eyes like hit the sticker, and then they knew exactly, and then you can take it.
you're
away.
allowed.
Take it away, Tyler.
Yeah, so from there they brought us to the waiting room, which was, it was pretty basic. It just had some benches and a couple seats and whatnot, but they had water and a few different sodas for people, so you could kind of go and grab what you needed and then go and sit back down.
In this refrigerator.
Yeah, and once the 20 minutes had passed, there was the concierge team came out and they greeted everybody and told us, "Don't talk to guest services, come and talk to us."
Yeah, pretty much.
because
Don't stand
that's
in
what
that line.
you're paying for concierge. So come and talk to us. But I'm
exclusive.
I'm curious from your perspective though, because probably more people are going to be going through that. So
Yeah, well, what you're seeing here, if you're watching, these are all experiences I went through here at.
Oh
the
my God,
port level.
people!
Yeah, I was corralled like the cow that I am, along with the
No.
rest of the herd.
Stop.
I will tell you though, what's interesting is my check-in time was scheduled for I think like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we did arrive very early for your concierge meet and greet, which I was perfectly fine waiting because I knew that was going to happen. And I waited and waited, and I noticed that there was really no backup in the lines outside. I kept thinking, how weird is that? And the times, still had not switched over because each line has its own dedicated time. Like if you're here for this time, this check-in time, this is where you come and wait. And there were nobody in those lines. People just kept going through the doors left and right, and there was no backup. And I kept thinking, and, it still wasn't time for me because there were several hours, and so I was waiting. And finally, a crew member walked up, a Disney cast member tapped me on the shoulder and said, I've noticed you waiting for a while. Are you waiting for people? And I said, well, I'm waiting for my check-in time. And he said, oh. He goes, well, we're very efficient today. You just go on in. And it was still probably an hour and a half before my required check-in time that I had received online from Disney. So I went in, and there were a lot of people inside that were going through security, but security was even very quick.
That's
which was a
interesting because they
surprise.
were delayed boarding because they even told us while we were waiting in the room, they were like, oh, we're delayed boarding because what happens is back-to-back goes first, and then concierge goes in. So back-to-back still didn't even go on the ship yet.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, so it was I was curious because we were like 20 minutes delayed getting in because of I guess the checks and
I waited
balances.
myself about an hour and a half before that man tapped me on the shoulder.
Oh, okay.
So there was plenty
That's
of time.
exciting though.
It's
Yeah.
good they
wonderful.
let you in though. I mean, it was during COVID, or it was at the tail end of COVID the last time we went on a Disney cruise, and they had a guy standing out front that did not let you in, even let you into the parking area,
The porter's area.
the porter
They make you
area
turn
until
around.
we had to go sit in like an ancillary parking lot for a good like 30 minutes.
And I am used to that on most cruises. In fact,
Yeah.
they're very stringent when it comes to the boarding times. When you walk in, you do receive that Herculean welcome from the Disney ship. They will say your name on microphone over the atrium speakers.
So fun.
The Disney Wish welcomes the Wade guy.
The Wade guy.
That is always such a thrill whenever you enter a Disney ship. I will say my last experiences on board Disney Cruise Line, though, always had a crowd of cast members that would stand on to either side that would be clapping. as
Oh, you
I
didn't
walked
get
in.
claps?
I got no claps. There was
Oh,
just somebody with a
no.
microphone. It was like, it's Wade.
Wow.
It's Wade.
No.
There he is.
There
Thank
you go. There it
This
is.
The applause I
There
did
it is.
receive that should have happened.
Did you get
long
a
time
wand?
ago. I did get a wand,
Okay.
but there was nobody inside that was clapping. Your first impressions when you walked in, heard that Herculean call, and
Yeah.
then saw that atrium for the first time of the Wish.
It was really fun. We walked in, and then that's like when they shout your name and they're like the crouch party. It's like vacation has begun, and then you get so excited, and then you walk in. But I guess for me, it wasn't very very grand because you literally we walked in, and it was just like hordes of people coming through. They shouted our name, and then everybody clapped, and then they gave us a wand, and then we got like ushered to the 1923 dining room because with concierge they push you you pretty much you board early and then they push you to a luncheon, and then that's kind of how they waste a little bit of time where you have to sit down, relax, and then the other people start boarding the ship. But that's pretty much it. I didn't really get to walk around the atrium. It was like we walked in, and then they're like, okay, go.
To your dining room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a really special looking area. I mean, when you look up, it doesn't feel like you're on a cruise ship, to be honest.
It's cool to
You
see
feel-
the princesses up on the top balcony.
Yeah, there's a lot of really nice decoration, adornments, and then like every now and then I would see like Tiana and Naveen like waving at people from the balcony up top and stuff. So it's cool they give a welcome. Well, at least when we were there. Sorry, Wade.
I did see Tiana and Naveen. I will say that.
Okay.
They were at least
See,
waving
okay.
at me. Yeah. But the crowd had dispersed when I got on board. And yeah, the idea of like, and head to lunch because your room's not ready yet. I went to Arendelle, the Frozen
Fun.
themed restaurant there on board because that was one of many options that you had. And so I went over to Arendelle where I was stopped in the hallway by a man with a name tag who said, "We full."
Oh,
And I said, "Whose fault is that?" No, I didn't say that. But
move aside.
But I
sir.
sure thought it. I was like, "Whose fault is that?" No, but I thought, my goodness, full already, and it
And
isn't even.
you
fully
got to
boarded
board
yet.
early too.
Right. So he's like, if you want to go up to the top decks, Marceline Market, which is considered their buffet without really being a buffet, is open, as well as some of the pool deck Mickey's Festival of Foods areas, which we'll go into in more depth a little bit later on as we go through, especially the food when it comes to this ship. However, I did go find myself some grub at that Festival of Foods, which ended up being outstanding. The concern I had came really around when the rooms were going to be ready. So in my domain, down in steerage, deck 7.
Stop.
You guys were all the way up at the top, living the high life at that concierge club. I was down on deck 7, and rooms were not ready when they said they were going to be. We had to wait probably an additional 25, 30 minutes before they opened those up. And there was big crowds. You saw it in the video here a moment ago. Big crowds that had formed because they kind of tell you, like, oh, rooms are going to be ready at a certain time. Everybody shows up at that time. Anyway, eventually got in. Room steward ended up being incredible. He was more interested in the wedding of Garrett than I was. I mean, this guy knew everything about this wedding, every detail. He wanted to know about the bride's dress. He wanted to know about place settings and all this stuff. He was great. But I had a really amazing time on day 1 getting to the room because I was in one of those angled rooms with a balcony that had a lot more space because the Disney Wish kind of has these bizarre protruding circular deck areas on certain ends of the ship, and I was on one of those like corners where I got a lot more space on my balcony, which I thought was really cool. We will go into a deep dive when it comes to our room specifically on a later discussion, but let's talk about the muster drill.
Yes.
And what that was like for you and what that was like for me. Take us through the muster drill. I'll tell you first, for me, this is one thing that is required of anybody who's never been on a cruise. This is the safety protocol for the ship. Every ship requires you to go through a muster safety spiel process. Now, post-COVID, most cruise lines have adopted the COVID way of doing things, which is a lot more convenient, and that is through watching a safety video, reporting to your muster location to show that you know where you are supposed to go in case of an emergency, and that's it. They sign you off. Oh, but Disney decided to go back to the old way of doing things, and by God, they were going to take a lot of your time in which to do so. At least in my experience, this ended up being almost an entire hour of waiting.
Oh my
and
goodness.
it was mostly because they kept waiting for people to show up that weren't there yet.
Exactly.
And
Newbies.
that drove me crazy. All to give a 3-minute spiel as to what you needed to know. What was your experience like?
Well, it was a lot better than that. I have to say, I don't know. I think it was because we were in concierge, but I think other people in concierge. I think there were other people too in concierge that didn't get to do what we did. But they took us to the balcony of the theater, and so we just sat in the comfy plush chairs in the air conditioning. With drinks.
Well,
and
is that how it works?
And then there were a couple moments. They tell people you can't be on your cell phone and stuff. And there were like a couple moments where, like a woman kept taking her cell phone out, and they would tell her, and she gets all angry. She's like, "Wah!" And it's like, just put your cell phone away, please. It's not that hard. But for us, it took maybe. We were sitting in those seats for 10 minutes.
Oh. No, you're big. No,
I think so.
It was like 25, 30 minutes.
No,
we literally
I
had
don't
to
think
sit
so.
down and wait because there was like a family that didn't show up, and they were like, we need this room, blah, 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 blah. And then then they were waiting down below because I think they filled the whole, they filled the whole theater.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only time I stepped foot in that theater. And then it was like, there was probably 4 or 5 different groups, but it was 20.
We weren't the only
25 minutes.
Yeah,
tops. It was pretty quick because I think everybody kind of had their game on, they knew what they were doing. But I think it wasn't just concierge. On the Dream when we did it, one time, I was indoors. I think I was at that karaoke bar area and on the Dream in the back in the adult area. So not everybody in concierge gets to have like the indoor. Some areas get to have indoor, but it was nice.
It was it was besides the one that you were talking about where you could go. Disney used to do it too, where you could go. You take a picture of your plaque. And then you go, and then you watch the video and leave.
Yeah,
that was nice.
That was the nicest mustard drill I've ever done. This is the second nicest mustard drill I've ever done.
Oh, how lovely for you too!
It was like,
wonderful.
I just don't like taking the picture, getting it done. It was nice when we did it post-COVID that one time, because you literally just get on the ship, you run to your muster area, you take a picture, you do your thing, and you're done. Right? This one we were like dawdling, you know, because you have to do it at like 3:45, and so then they remind you over the speakers like 15 times. Like, I don't know how no one did not show up.
Which then pushes 4,000 passengers to the same common areas.
Yeah,
that's
elevators,
what I was about to bring
stairs.
that up too.
Which is
that's the worst part of the muster drill is the
unbelievable
people leaving.
Yeah,
I walked up how many flights of stairs to get back up to the 12th floor? I was like.
Yeah, we were on like the 3rd floor, 4th floor, or something like that, and like the elevators are useless when there's that many people trying to get there.
Because there's only 2 banks of elevators on the ship,
and they're tiny.
Yeah,
and the other thing about the elevators, real quick, is some of them don't go all the way to the top, and it takes you. It took us like a day to realize like what is going on. How come we can't get to the floor that we're on from this elevator? And it's crazy to me that they don't have just have 2 different buttons. Like they do this in Vegas all the time, where it's like this goes to floor 1 through 30, and this goes to 31 through 60. Like I don't understand why they didn't do that, but
so you have to keep pressing the up button, and everybody's like, "Why are you waiting? Are you coming?" I was like, "I need to wait for this one to open."
No kidding.
So we walked up a lot of stairs after that, and
it's a good workout.
And it's a good. I don't mind walking up all the stairs. I mind when it's just like everybody is doing it at the same time.
It's nice to go up at your pace. Like I go up fast just to get it over with, but some people just go slow. So then for me, it's like all day. It feels like all day long, and then it's just a lot.
It is a lot, and I'll say I'm all for safety, for the reason of being safe.
100%.
However, as I said to the people that were standing around me, as long as we were waiting, because when we're out there on the deck, they like put us by size and room, and like we all have to stand next to each other, and it's so ridiculous because
that's so interesting. They put you by room.
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting! Yeah, they just
they
had
line
a clipboard,
us up by room,
and they were just like, "What room are you in?" Okay, 2 people.
Again,
you
how lovely
over
for
there.
you two to have had such a wonderful experience during your muster. I did not have such an experience, and even said to the person standing next to me, was like, "Do you think if this ship is going down, we're going to line up like this and respect each other's space, and everybody's going to wait to be told exactly where they need to go?" I was like, it is going to be every man for themselves. It's going to be hell on earth. That's why you only need to know where your lifeboat is.
Yeah.
That's why you only need to know that, because no one's going to be orderly and respectful if the ship is going down. So let's not pretend that we need to do all this. We don't.
And to be honest with you, I don't know where our lifeboat was because we
we
were in a theater. So I don't know what what am I supposed to go to if the whole place is on fire? Do I go to the theater and be like, where do I go now?
You
like,
pretty much show up, and then they go, "Okay, come with me," and then we're like,
there's a flotation device underneath your theater.
So
seats.
I actually think it would have been more. I think it would have been better for us if we would have just been able to go to where our boat was. Know where the boat was and be like, okay, cool, got it. And but again, I wouldn't know where my boat was if the ship started going down.
No.
Well, glad to hear that ended up being what you went through, and truly walked out of there with the information that you needed. It sounds like. Well, embarkation day, obviously the pinnacle of it all is the sail away. And how did you guys spend your sail away? I know I went down to sort of the main concourse area where all the pools are and the main stages outside to watch Captain Minnie and the whole gang go cray-cray. They brought out all the royalty too to help us sail away. What did you two end up doing?
Well, we just sat in concierge with a glass of beverage because it was it's 5 o'clock. You get free drinks from like 5 to 10 at concierge. So we had beautiful Aperol spritzes and sat we tried. I think we tried standing outside to go. We did stand outside with our
Yeah.
drinks, but it was just so windy.
It was really windy out
and
there.
but we
the
sat
first
on the
day
front,
was really windy
and then
in
we
general.
we watched it for a little bit as we were sailing away, going, while the little boats were kind of guiding us out to the water, and then when I had enough of all the wind just smacking my face, I was like, I'm good. And then I just sat down for a little bit outside and then went back in, because there you get it's like a beautiful room that has just a beautiful glass windows surrounding you in the front. So you have this like beautiful view anyway. So we just sat there.
It's on the bow of the ship too, so you can really just see everything
better.
that's happening
Yeah.
in front of you. So
Yeah,
that's
had
where we enjoyed it from,
Had I paid for that, I would have been in the same spot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was out here with the
But look at these fun little
3,800
characters.
other people on the ship.
Yeah.
As we all crammed into the top decks of the ship to say goodbye to Port Canaveral and hello to the Bahamas as we set sail.
Look at
Great
this.
music playing, the big countdown there to the horn, which is the best part of the Disney Wish.
Yeah.
When You Wish Upon a Star playing there as part of the horn. But it was quite the spectacle, and kids just losing their minds at this point. That's what it's all about on a Disney cruise. And it was a beautiful sail.
Yeah, look
away.
at all those people.
I'm telling you, man.
Tyler's like, oh no.
I'm telling you, all the 3,800 other people were
Wow.
out here.
Here we were
Yeah.
just chillaxing in a little room with a beverage.
How long did you wait for this spot?
I
a good
got
spot.
there about 30 minutes ahead of time.
Okay.
I was elbowing a 12-year-old and
Yeah.
telling a mom to take a
You
hike.
stick
Popping
your ground,
balloons.
Wade.
Yeah. I was like, I paid for this too.
You take your stance.
I paid for this.
Knocking kids off their parents' shoulders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get out of here.
Like, I got here 30 minutes ago. Do you realize the muster I just went through? Please. Yeah, it was one of those people. But it was a pretty incredible sight to finally start moving and just recognize how jealous all the Carnival ships were that passed us going, is that Disney Cruise Line over there?
Oh
Oh,
my
they look so
God.
much better.
Oh my gosh,
Oh.
we had a cast member even. He was we pulled up next to just this old looking ship when we went to the Bahamas. And,
Oh, yeah.
This one cast member was like just ashamed that we had to even be there. Just was like, look at that ship over there.
Later in the cruise, you and I took part in a seminar, and one of the crew members with Disney even said, we know you have a lot of choices when you head out to sea, and we thank you for choosing us. I mean, you could choose the ship next to us with the rust on the bow, or you could choose us, and you chose us. And yeah, definitely was throwing some shade at
It was
the
funny.
other brands, that's for sure. Embarkation Day was lovely, though, and we will
Yeah, it was
dive
great.
into all of the additional details about the overall Disney Wish cruise in future broadcasts. So be sure to stick with us as Kingdom Report Live brings you all the Disney Wish coverage you need to know about. Well, we want to say a special thank you to Drew the Disney Dude for hanging out with us here today and definitely listening in on that last segment there, all about that Disney Wish cruise line getaway. You taking copious notes?
Yes, I'm taking lots of mental notes right now, I promise.
I think you would enjoy it
I think you'd
very
really
much,
have
actually.
fun.
You really would, especially, I mean, you could even go on the Wish. They have the Bayou over there.
Right.
I know you're such a Tiana fan.
It's true.
Hey, it
Facts.
sounds a little tempting, I would say.
Going down
But
the
to be
Bayou.
fair, a lot of the cruise stuff does seem very fun, like the rotational dining and the character experiences and Pirate Night, and it seems like they really go out of their way to make that a unique experience, like separate from the parks.
Right.
And every single person that I talk to truly does love their cruise. So whenever I get to go on one, hopefully sooner than later, then I will have a fresh memory of it and we'll get to appreciate the difference in quality from the parks to the cruise.
Yeah,
All
for
those-
sure.
100%.
All those ultra-themed environments on board, I think, are the best
Mhm.
parts of the entire experience. And you can check out more from Drew the Disney Dude by heading on over to his YouTube channel, YouTube Drew the Disney Dude, or Drew Disney Dude on social media. Thanks so much for weighing in today on a variety of topics, but specifically when it comes to Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm calling myself Drew the Bayou Bro now as my new nickname.
I love it.
I
Yeah.
like
Then you definitely have to hit the Wish. You got to
Yeah.
get down there. The Bayou Bro's got to get to the Bayou.
I think so, and I'll get out to Disneyland later this year when it opens, and hopefully I'll get to see you guys then.
Yeah.
on
That'd be
Bayou
amazing.
That'd be
Adventure.
fun.
That would be great.
Yes.
Yeah, and maybe we can get you up here to Burbank for one of our live shows. That would be fun
Let's
too.
do it.
So,
Let's
heck
do it.
yeah. Well, that sounds great. Well, thanks for dropping by, and thank you all for watching once again. We know that you have a lot of choices out there when it comes to your Disney Parks content, and to know that you have stuck with the Kingdom Report means so much to us. As always, remember the legacy of Walt Disney lives on because of people like you and me. We'll see you next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific for an all-new Kingdom Report Live.